Okay, now we're live. So, hi everybody, and welcome to Book Chat with Tracie and Lashell. We're kicking off season 2 with romance author Kate Roth, but tonight we're doing things a little differently than normal. We've had a lot of computer issues tonight. It started with my computer and then Kate's computer. So we've got Kate on
It
speakerphone,
was not my
and we
fault
have
this time.
it wasn't Lachelle's fault this time. Yay! But we have Kate on speakerphone, and she's also joining us on the screen. So there might be a little bit of a delay with everything matching up, but it's okay. It's all good. So, Lachelle, if you want to say hi before we kick off interviews.
Hi. Welcome back.
Hey. Oh, I'm going to turn it over to Kate just to do a quick little introduction and say hi before we kick it off.
Hi. I'm Roth.
Yay!
My computer sucks, and I don't know how to work things.
That's pretty much all of us. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig right into questions because we have a few of those for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lachelle knows better than anyone that I really don't like book signings. I'm really weird about meeting people because they scare me a little bit. But that said, I actually formally met you at a book signing after kind of like secretly stalking you from the corner of my eye at a previous book signing because I was like, I really want to go talk to her because you
Which
look
one?
at the Dayton book signing. When was that?
Oh, like 2 weekends before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sat diagonally behind me. And I kept telling Lachelle, like, her books look so good, and she's so pretty, and I want to talk to her, but I was too intimidated. And then I finally got up the nerve to talk to you, and I was like, woohoo, new author friend. So anyway, that said, like, I've kind of looked around at your social media, and I've watched you, and I noticed that you do a lot of book signings, or you do a lot more than I do. I mean, doing two is doing a lot more than I do. So I guess my question essentially is, how often do you participate in book signings, and do they play like a major role in your writing life?
So last year I did a lot. I think I did 6 or 7 last year, and that was a whole lot. I kind of burnt myself out a little bit on them. I have a great time doing them, and especially last year and the year prior, they do play a major role in my writing career. I like going out and meeting readers. I'm a people person, and I'm a talker, and I like to meet people and schmooze and all that, and so they're really fun for me. But they're a lot of work. You're on all day, and it can be costly, and depending on like travel and things like that, like things can go wrong with am I going to get there on time? So they can be stressful, but I really enjoy them. I'm not doing as many this year, which is good and bad, because I won't, I have people who want me to come to certain ones, and I'm not going to. But it's giving me more time to write and some more. Last year, and I don't even know how many I did in 2014.
Oh wow! How far do you usually travel when you do the signings?
I try not to go any farther than driving distance because I'm typically going by myself, and so the longest drive that I made was 8 hours last year to go to Pips and Tell in Pennsylvania, outside Hershey, Pennsylvania, and that was a steep drive to do by myself.
Right.
So 8 hours is too much, I think, for the future. I've flown to a couple of them. I'm doing Wicked Book Weekend in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in April, and so I'll be flying to that one, and that will be the 3rd time I've flown for a signing. So,
are there any of the signings that you've always wanted to attend that you haven't attended yet? Or
Wicked Book Weekend!
Yeah!
I had a little excited fangirl party when I got my invite. So
I bet.
I'm jacked. I'm totally pumped to go to that signing. I'm very thrilled that I get to go to that.
So in addition to that one, what are the other ones that you have coming up this year?
So that's April 23rd, and then May 7th I'll be in Chicago for Wild and Windy, and then in September I am signing and I co-host with my dear friend Brittany Hill, Indie Unmasked, which is here in Indianapolis where I live. And we did it in November of 2014, and then we took a break from last year, and we're doing it again this September. So that one's huge for me because it's not only like I go there and I sign and I have a good time as an author, but it's our brainchild, it's our labor of love. So we put it all together, and it's fun.
That is super exciting. Like, I don't think I would be able to take something like that on. That's scary.
Yeah, the first year was really scary, but we got our feet wet with it, and it went really, really well. We had a great turnout and really successful. So we caved finally and said, all right, let's do it again.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. So those are my three, and I'm looking forward to all three of them.
Wonderful.
Okay, so Tracie and I debate about this all the time because we're total opposites on this subject, but we're always curious when we talk to other writers. What's your process like? Are you a plotter or a pantser?
I like to call myself a hybrid because I tend to be a pantser in the beginning. I just start wherever I start, and if it's chapter 1, it's chapter 1. If it's a scene, I go from that. If it's character development, I just kind of start in, and then when I get to a point where I'm stuck, then's when I start plotting, and I say, okay, where is this really going?
Right.
And then I get my outline going from there. But I guess if I had to choose, I would say I'm more of a pantser because usually it's usually I'm more. Well, I gotta do my math. Like I'm more of a pantser, specifically in the beginning. My dog is in here and he's like shaking. His collar is making noise. So if he barks sometimes, that's gonna happen. So
it's all good.
Yeah, he wants to be a part of it. He wants to be involved. So I guess I am a pantser, but I do at a certain point. Usually, I would say by the time I'm 3/4 of the way through a work in progress, then I really sit down and I get an outline going from what I already have versus what where I need to finish out, and then I do a lot of tweaking and going back in and saying well, this is all wrong. If this is going to be the end, then I have to go back and fix all this. And so I guess I get to a point where I'm a plotter, but for the most part, yeah.
That sounds like a point for Tracie. Just saying.
Point, Tracie.
I was losing, so I needed one.
Oh, most people are plotters that you talk to?
I feel like we talk to more plotters than we do pantsers.
Do you? I feel like it's the other way around.
A while ago with Alisa Romig and Kelsey Levers and Brittany Hill, and me, Alisa, and Brittany, we were all pantsers, and then Kelsey stood up there and talked about how she was a plotter, and she went into this long thing about how she outlines everything first and does all of her characters, and we were all looking at her like, what are you talking about? I just don't work that way.
No. Okay, so, on this topic of writing, how long have you been writing, and did you know that that's always what you wanted to do?
So I would say I've been writing since junior high. I was always just kind of, for me, it was a matter of I had to give up playing Barbies, but I still had stories. I still had storylines. So I started writing, and I don't know if I thought when I was doing it at that age and in high school, if I thought I'll be an author, I'll write a book and have it published. I think that was always in the back of my mind as a goal,
right? Or
a dream that maybe, but it didn't really seem realistic in the way that to look at my life now. I did not envision this as the outcome when I was writing little junior high love stories to let my friends read. But back in 2008, I took a class that was called So You Want to Write a Book, and it ended up being mostly about how to query an agent and how to write a summary of your novel or whatever. It wasn't like a craft book. It was more about publishing. And at that point, I was working on 2 novels that I was just kind of toying with. Like, I was, my friend would read them. I was writing because I wanted to read what I wanted to write, and I didn't think, oh, I'll do something with this someday. And then that class really kind of springboarded it for me, and I finished them up and cleaned them up and became an author. Like, not just a writer, an author. Wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's always been in me. It's just, it took me a while to see, like, that was a potential job, and that could be my career. I think I always thought of it more as, like, a dream or, the fun thing to do, but who knew you could turn the fun thing into, like, a real job.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I like how she said that it was, like, kind of that point where she had to give up her Barbies, because I'm sitting over here like, I still play with Barbies.
I know. No, give them up. What's she talking about?
Mom Barbie.
I actually have a Barbie that looks like me in my room. Like, she's got my big hips and my big thighs, and was like, that's my Tracie Barbie.
When they came out with the new curvy Barbies and the tall Barbie or the crazy hair Barbie, I told my husband, I was like, the minute we see a pink haired Barbie,
it's you.
So what's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself through your writing?
I'm gonna say, okay, can I say two things?
Sure.
Two things?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number one, how quickly I can write when I'm really dedicated to the job. I feel like for my first novel, my first published novel, the first novel that I finished, I feel like I worked on that book for 4 years, and then, in the last year, I've written something within a span of 9 months, and I feel like it's just as good a quality, if not better. And so, for me, that really surprised me that I could, I don't know, just get to a point where I realize setting aside the time means I can get my words out, and I can write fairly quickly. And then, on top of that, kind of realizing that I tend to work out personal, emotional things through my books and not realize it until I'm done with them. Like, by the time I get to the end of what I've written, I go, oh, that's the whatever brain issue. like, oh, that's that old boyfriend. Or that's my person. I didn't even think about it when I was writing it. And then when I look at it as a whole, I'm going, oh. Yeah. There's your crazy. All right.
Makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah. So those things have kind of surprised me, especially getting more work. I never thought too much about it when I had only written 1 or 2 novels, but now I'm working on my 10th, and it's like, well, geez, yeah, like all of these things are, a shred of me and moving through something personally.
It's writing and it's therapy. It's
definitely.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay, so one of my favorite questions to ask, and I love it. Why romance? Like, you could write anything in the world. Why romance?
Because I love love. I love love. Sorry, my dog is tangled in my cell phone charger. I'm a total sap. I'm a total romantic. I like to read romance. I like to write romance. I don't know. I mean, I could see myself writing other things, and I've dabbled a little bit here and there, but I've tried to write things that aren't romance, and they just turn into romance. Like, I just want 2 people to fall in love.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it.
That's awesome.
It makes me happy, and I think part of it too is that it makes people happy.
It does.
It's a genre where and yeah, you can write an ugly cry, or you can write a tragic love story, but for the most part, my readers, when they want to talk to me about my work, they're talking about how good it made them feel, and that makes me feel good, and I feel good when I'm writing them.
Yep.
So, it's not gloom and doom, and these heavy topics that are like you walk away from reading a book, which there is a place for that, and and a lot of people love to read those kinds of books, myself included. But there's just something about putting down a book that you finished and wanting to hug it because you're so happy that this they're in love. Like that's a nice.
It's that darn Disney effect, is what it is. Like,
exactly. I love it.
Okay, so you said you've dabbled in other genres. Now I'm curious. What other genres have you ever really thought you'd take?
So I have a work in progress that is a zombie novel.
yes!
No way.
It's a teen zombie novel. So I would do young adult, apocalyptic zombie.
Oh wow.
And then I've got a handful of things that are kind of. This is my problem, is I have too many things go. I just open a document and I say, all right, this book now, and I get, 3 chapters, and then I go, oh, well, I'll put that away and go to something else. And so I have all of these things started, or I have, notes for a handful of books that, may get written, may not.
Right.
And a lot of them are romance, majority of them are romance, but I have some things that I would just consider general fiction, like family sagas, or, I have some YA stuff, some teen stuff. But the zombies is the farthest from, a last resort, go from, humorous erotic romance to zombie novel. So I want to finish it. I really love it. It was a NaNoWriMo project. My God, sorry. It was a NaNoWriMo project a couple years ago, and so I got a lot done in it. I have, quite a bit. It's probably 40,000 words. I want to finish it, but we'll see.
It's so cool. I want her to kind of mix the apocalyptic zombie erotic romance stuff and just go.
I'm sorry, there's just no way to make zombies romantic and sexy.
Could be
Wait, time out. Lashell, did you just say there's no way to make...
There's no way to make zombies romantic and sexy.
Challenge accepted.
I like it. Challenge accepted. I love it. And I look forward to the day that book comes out, and the dedication can just be Lashell. I told you so. Boom.
Okay, I look forward to it.
She's just such a Debbie Downer. Okay, so it's very, very, very important to have the support of family and friends, especially when you're a writer. It's not an easy job. So I'm curious, who is your biggest pillar of support that you have?
My very best friend, Brittany Hill. She is also an author, but we actually met in beauty school. I'm a hairdresser in my regular life, and so is she. And we met in cosmetology school. And our one of our very first conversations was, hey, sometimes I write stories. And she was like, oh my gosh, sometimes I write stories too. So we started writing stories together and sharing our work with each other. And we have been on this journey in this path together since the very beginning. We actually started with a publisher, a small press, with our first novels, and have really done a lot of our career path in a similar way, and we've really grown together, and she is my number one constant support. My family is very supportive, my husband is incredibly supportive, but she gets it because she's a fellow author, and so, I feel like people who either aren't creative types or aren't, specifically, just being in our industry and understanding how it's changed over the years and the things that ebb and flow, she truly understands it, and she truly understands me as a person. So she's my girl, my number one.
She's her Lashell.
Yes. Queen.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, it kind of falls hand. This next question kind of falls hand in hand with that last one, because there's an enormous amount of pressure that comes with producing books and just kind of being your author self, and you're just kind of in this mode all the time. But I think the three of us know as well as anyone that that's not all we ever do. And I think that when people think of us, they're like, "Why aren't you typing those books faster? That's all you do." But we do have lives outside of our books. So unfortunately, I guess I could say, because I could live in my books forever. But so could
and
you
I never shower, but
well, I do have those days.
We all do.
I sometimes like somebody will say, "Tracy, have you had a good day?" I'm like, "Well, I showered." So
when it's an author day, it's like, well, I changed out of one pair of pajamas into another pair of pajamas.
I accomplished something
right.
cool. So yeah, you can usually chalk up those normal things as success. But can you kind of describe what like your daily life looks like when you're not doing your author stuff?
So I still work about 40 hours a week in a hair salon. I own my own business. I have a little private salon studio on the north side of Indianapolis where I do hair, and it's nice because I keep my own schedule. I work whatever hours I want, but I'm taking clients. So whenever my clients come in and they say, they like, "Oh, how are you? How have you been?" Whatever, I just say, "Cutting hair and writing books."
Yeah,
that's all I do. That's my standard answer: is cutting hair and writing books. So I work a lot, and then if I have time at the end of my day or at the beginning of my day, that's when I try to get my writing in. I only work 4 days a week. So I have 3 days, and I try to make 2 of those days a week my author days where, I'm either focusing on writing or, of course, doing all of the other stuff that goes along with being an indie author and, making graphics and posting on Facebook and, talking to blogs and doing all of the, the ancillary things that you have to do to keep it afloat. And then I'm married, I have a husband, and we spend some time together. We get to spend time together, and I've got my dog, so I walk my dog sometimes when the weather's nice. And, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm working. I'm doing hair and coming home and writing, and the last couple of days it's been all about Fuller House.
Yes.
Netflix binge, Fuller House, laying on the couch. So sometimes writing gets put to the side for important things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have your priorities, and you have to have your priorities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You just have to.
Yeah. And I got to see what happens on the show.
So, Lashell, we're not that far from Indianapolis, so I'm thinking someday we should get in the car and go get our hair done. And I think we would look great with pink hair.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Maybe blue.
You guys are not that far from Indianapolis. You need to come get me up now. You can go on sale tonight at midnight. Fancy party where everybody gets dressed up and there's an open bar.
I love fancy parties.
Okay, so can we talk about? Can we talk about?
Sorry, I thought I lost you. Oh, I thought I lost you for a second, but you came back. So sorry.
Okay, we good?
Yep, we're good. Go for it.
Can we talk about Last Resort for a minute? Which was the book that Tracy and I just read, and can you tell us where the idea of the story came from? That was a loaded question, apparently.
Wow. Like to bang Ryan Gosling? No. Is this not a vulgar show? Do we not get vulgar on this show? No.
It's just very easy. I get flustered very easily.
You get flustered. You get a little flushed over there. And you're looking red. No. So I don't exactly remember where it all came from. I just know there was this moment in Stop Growling. I just remember, sorry, I just remember this moment. I was totally working on something else. I was supposed to be writing something else. And I went upstairs with a notebook. I didn't even open the laptop. I went upstairs with a notebook, and I wrote the first chapter. And I was like, what? I don't know. I think it was Danielle. I think it was the idea of, of an unsatisfied woman getting, like, the ultimate satisfaction, getting her dream man in a dream place and seeing what that really looked like, and then having the complications. And I don't know, I wanted to write something funny, and that was really important to me, that I wanted a laughing book, and I think I did it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've always had, like, a weird obsession with fame, famous people. I have another series that deals with people, like, in the music industry, and so it just draws to me, like, it's just the idea of someone who is different in that way, and lives that extravagant lifestyle, but the complexities of someone who is famous, who not every we only see a portion of what a celebrity's life is like. And so I don't know, I wanted to write the Hollywood bad boy who was actually a good boy.
Yeah. Lashell does that too. She digs into the celebrity stuff too.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Only rock stars.
Only
not actors.
Only rock stars.
So how long did it take you to finish the book?
I love it. I really like that. Some readers don't care for it because they say it's unrealistic, and this would never happen. All of these, regular girls getting with these extraordinary guys, and it's like, well, it's entertainment. Like, this is the most fun. I read to escape. I want to
exactly.
escape into another world, and if that means that I get my fantasy come to life in a book form, and get to read about it in a fun way, like, well, that's the whole point,
Yeah.
If it was realistic, then she'd be, I don't know, she'd be sad afterwards because, oh, well, I went home and, I didn't stay with him because I felt like a loser, and, or I never even went back to his hotel room because I felt fat that day. Like, that's not a good book.
It's probably realistic, but it's not good.
Exactly, it's realistic.
I'm looking really fat today. I think I'll just stay back and
Or I felt super guilty about, the way that I look, or I didn't shave my legs, so I'm not gonna.
Right, I didn't shave my legs today. There's no way I'm going back to his room.
No.
This is
Read
really
to escape, live an escape, life in these fantasy romantic books, and I don't know. Like I said before, it just makes you feel good. Who wouldn't want that?
right. I'm the same way. Like, I have this thing with celebrities. I don't know. I get very attached to them, like, very emotionally, and I'm very enamored by them. I know Lashell is too. She's over there like, yeah, me too.
I totally am.
But like, my 12-year-old self, like, loves the idea of the normal person getting to meet and have that opportunity to be with a person that they have this huge crush on. So I think books like that work regardless of whether or not they're real. Like, I think there's something amazing about it, and I love it.
And I think so long as you take realistic emotions and realistic characterizations of people, and, maybe the circumstances are unrealistic, but you can write a realistic love story, set in that scenario of, okay, sure, not every normal girl is going to get to fall in love with a celebrity guy, or vice versa, or whatever, but you can still write a realistic love story with those two people starring in it.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, on the note of your books, what is your favorite Kate Roth book?
I love this question.
I do too, because
I love this question.
It's always so fun to get in their head and find out like what they love the most.
It's hard. It's like choosing between your children.
It's so hard.
It is. It's
so
very
hard. When I'm at a signing and somebody was like, "What's your favorite? I want to buy your favorite." I'm like,
I think I did that too. I'm pretty sure I did that.
reasons. Like, it's so hard. And if you ask other people this question, I'm sure you get the exact same answer. Like, I love all of my books for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
And I hate choosing because I don't want to.
Then don't.
I don't want to say.
Then
like,
don't
I don't want to say the
choose.
book that I'm thinking right now because part of me feels like choosing one is saying that the others are less than, and that's so not the case.
Okay, then don't feel obligated to answer the question, but I don't know. Like I kind of.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I kind of want to know what's going on in your head right now, and it's driving me crazy.
Like if you could be any one of your characters.
Oh, yeah, I like that question better. How about that? If you could live in the world of any of your books, how about that?
That's harder.
Oh, okay.
That's harder?
Way harder. Okay, no, so, well, because I've been asked this question before, I have given the same answer, and it's Sway, my book Sway. It's the second book in my Confession Records series, which it's a standalone, and the book prior to it is also a standalone, but the main character of Sway is a guy named Bo, and he gets introduced in the book of Natural Harmony. And I feel like it's my favorite because I love him so much. I connect, like, he's the male lead of all my books that I've, she's in my arms with now. Sorry.
No.
You didn't hear it?
I hear,
so loud.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, okay.
She's making stuff up over there.
She's evading the question.
My hero that I connect the most with and I love the most. And so, and it's kind of a redemption story, like who he is in the Book of Natural Harmony is kind of a jerk, and he's not necessarily the villain, but he's definitely, the bad boy who, the female in that book needs to kind of move on from. And so this play is really his redemption story, and I don't know, it's really kind of sugary sweet, but it's also emotional, and it's the book that I miss writing the most.
Yeah.
Like,
I get that.
Say goodbye.
I get that.
You say goodbye to a book, like you finish with it, and you're like, oh, I'm never gonna write these people again. And it wraps up, and I miss it. I miss them. I miss them in my head. And so yeah, that's probably my favorite. And it's, again, like, it's not to say that any of the others are less than. I love all my babies, all my children the same, but it has a very special place in my heart, I guess.
I love that. Like, she's like, you can see it in her face. Like, you can see, like, how much it really means to her, and I absolutely love that.
I do. I love it. Yeah, I love it. And I really love when readers love it, because then I'm like, oh, you got it. Like,
yeah, there's something there.
That somebody else felt it, or felt what I was putting out there.
Right. I love
really
that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Okay, so Tracie and I, we both feel like music is a really important part of the writing process, and we create like soundtracks and playlists for each series or book that we're writing. Do you do that?
I do.
Do you write to music? What are some of the songs on your current playlist for your current work in progress? We
lost you for just a second. Lashell, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Okay. For your current work in progress, what are one or two of the songs on your playlist?
My current, so I'm writing the follow-up to Binding, and so I kind of have this playlist that goes, that's like a complete playlist for book 1 and 2. And one of my favorites, I wish I could tell you the name of the artist. It's a cover of that Sia song Chandelier, but it's like an a cappella. Oh, Kina Grayness, something like that. I'll have to give it to you later, and we can put a link up somewhere. It's like the best cover of Chandelier you will ever hear in your life. It is so beautiful.
I'm intrigued.
It's like acoustic, or it might even be a cappella. Like, it is so gorgeous, but it's like a really stripped down version, and to me, because I already knew writing book one was going to happen, I was like, that's really where that song is really important to me and my character, and so it's like on repeat.
That's awesome.
Over and over again. But yeah, I make playlists. I put up playlists for almost all of my books on my website. You know, stuff that either I listen to and like, you know, The Last Resort, the Desire series, all of the chapter titles are songs, they're song titles. And so then I put those lists out too on my website. Yeah. Music's huge for me with writing.
So you actually make it public, like what you write to, so we could actually go and just look at it if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Lashell, do you do that? Do you actually make
it
public? See, that's where I guess I'm different, because I don't think I ever share with anyone what I'm listening to. For me, I guess it's a little more private. I don't know.
I typically don't until after the book is out.
Okay.
Yeah, me either. I wait.
It's more of like a soundtrack.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so maybe not every song that I was listening to as I was writing would be on there, but like certain songs that affected certain themes, you know, would get put on a playlist and then shared after the fact. Like I don't know if I really want a ton of people knowing what I'm listening to as I'm writing.
Right.
Because sometimes it's like totally off the wall. And,
yep.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I have some interesting ones going right now that have like nothing to do with what I'm writing, but I think it would be really hard to explain that to people. But I don't know.
Right. And sometimes I get stuck on like, you know, a handful of songs, and I feel like I'm listening to them over and over again, or you know, I'm just listening to like a specific album. Puts me in the zone.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had just
Adele. Adele.
Yeah.
Forever. Adele.
So you had just mentioned that I think that you're working on your follow-up to Bindings. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is that the only thing you're working on right now?
Yes.
Yes.
That's the only thing I should be working on right now.
No. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm asking only because there are some people who, like Lashell, that's why this is another one of those things that just astounds me. She can work on like 8,000 projects at one time. Where I'm like over here, like I can only work on one. Don't hate me. Like that's all I can do. So, I was just curious. Like, is that something that you do? Do you work on more than one at a time?
Okay, so I do work on more than one thing at a time, and I equally love and hate that about myself. I like that I can, you know, people do, you know, get really confused. They're like, well, how do you keep it all straight? And I'm like, well, how do you keep anything straight? Like, I don't know. It's straight in my head. Like, I just know, like, this character is in this book, and that character is in that book. I don't know.
Right.
So what's the problem for me is that I feel like at a certain point I start spreading myself too thin.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm never making progress in one specific manuscript. And so I kind of have to reel it in and keep myself focused on one project at a time, specifically for just for publishing.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm working on 5 novels at a time, you know, when are they going to come out? You know, because they're never going to get done. You know. But I do like that I can do that, because if I get stuck, if I feel like I'm really, you know, hung up in a certain manuscript, then I will take a little break and switch over to something else that I have started, or that, you know, I know is coming up next, or third down the line or something. And usually that kind of kicks me out of a writer's block, is if I can go to another project and say, okay, you know, I remember these people, and I'm excited for this in the future. I'm going to get a couple thousand words out of them, and then go back to what I need to be focusing on. And so I will do that.
Very cool. Lashell has her super, super awesome monthly lightning rounds ready for you, I think. I love lightning round, but I refuse to write the questions because mine would be really crappy, so.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Yeah.
Coffee and pie together.
Spring or fall?
Fall.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Rock or country?
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, we lost you for just a second. Try again.
Oh, rock or country?
Rock. Not a country.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars, no question.
I love them both, so I don't care.
She doesn't care. She's like, I'm not.
Aliens, are we alone? Yes or no?
Oh, we're not alone. Aliens totally exist.
Okay, and
Out there.
The truth is out there.
the truth is out there, yes. Okay,
love you
last
guys
one,
so much.
very important.
No one. It's out there.
Trust no one. Okay, Tom Hiddleston or James Franco? I know, it's a tough one.
I don't think that's really tough. I want to go with neither.
Oh my God, what?
My heart says Franco, but my body says Hiddleston.
It just spit all over my computer.
Is that fair answer?
That's a good answer.
That answer's acceptable, yeah.
Franco creeps me out, but like Loki, hot. Super hot. Crimson Peak, hot.
I get it. I have a thing for Dave Franco, so I get the Franco thing.
Baby Franco, little baby Franco.
Baby Franco.
Baby Franco.
Baby Franco
He's so cute.
is delicious, actually.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Big Brother kind of gives me the grapes, just a little bit.
It's the roles he plays.
He's like the creepy guy.
I like him.
Like,
I like him,
I don't
but
know.
he's a little creepy. There's got to be some kind of term for that, and if there's not, we need to come up with like creepy but adorable. What would that word be?
Oh yeah. Oh. Okay, challenge accepted. I'll come up with it.
Challenge accepted. I like this. She has accepted two very, very big challenges tonight, and I'm very excited.
She has.
How about I work whatever word I come up with into the zombie novel during like a love scene?
And life just got amazing.
Yep.
Okay, so usually at this point of the show, we throw out a bunch of book recommendations and talk about what we've been reading. But full disclosure, I haven't been reading anything. Over our book chat hiatus, I bought a house. Yay! But because of that, I haven't had time to really sit down. And if I am sitting down, I'm writing and not reading. So I have nothing to recommend tonight. So Lashell, I'm going to pass it over to you.
And I hate to say this, but I have nothing to recommend tonight either because in my defense, I'm working on 5 different projects right now. But I did just start. I can't, I'm sure it's wonderful, but I did just start a book called Running Scared by this wonderful author named Tracie Puckett.
That sounds like a good book. That sounds like a good book.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, like you don't even have to tell me. You don't have to tell me what it's about. You just said it's by Tracie Puckett, and I'm like, hey, I think I want to read that. Like,
one click it now.
One click it now. Kate, do you have anything to recommend tonight on Book Chat?
You guys are going to crack up at what I'm reading right now. I'm reading a true crime novel about Ted Bundy, the serial killer.
I love true crime, so I'm not going to laugh at that at all.
We both love true crime, so yeah, we can get behind that.
That for a second, I am like all about true crime. Lashell and I sit and watched episode after episode after episode of Snapped. So.
Snapped.
Yeah.
Snapped.
I'm really into it right now. I listen to Serial and everything subsequent of that, and then like Making a Murderer, and like just so much true crime in my life right now that I was like, I need to read something like that. And I was reading a lot of romance, and I think it was tripping me up in my writing.
Yeah.
And I was getting like a little too comparative and like stressing myself out, like reading things that were really good and then being like, oh, I'll never be a good writer. And so then I'm like, I just need to read a book about a murderer.
That'll make me feel so much better.
I moved on to that. But it's very good so far, and it's a very interesting story if you're into that kind of thing.
It's great because I always feel like if somebody I love dearly ever ended up dead or something, that the first person they're going to look at is me. But
totally.
The good news is now I know that they'll come after you too as well, because you're sitting here admitting that you love it as much as I do. So Oh, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be used as evidence against me. And so I should probably stop.
You're just digging yourself in a deeper hole right now.
The problem is, I forget what I'm supposed to talk about next. Lashell, what am I?
Well, that's about it.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to do like shameless self-promotion, plugs and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I did just release the first part of a new series. It's called Running Scared. I'm really, really excited about it. It's a lot different, from anything else that I've ever done. It's a little more suspense. A lot more suspense. So I'm really, really, really excited about that one. And I'm also working on a new novella series that's going to my editor at the end of March, and I'm really excited about that one too. But nothing to report on that. And Lashell, I'm going to pass it over to you because I keep saying a lot.
Okay. Well, I have a book releasing on March 29th. It's called Rogue Moon, and it's part of the Wolf Pack. It's part of the Wolf Pack's Bad Boy Alpha project. So my Bad Boy comes out on March 29th. And I'm also working on the next Kelly family novel, which this one is called, it's changed names. It was Up in Smoke, but it's changed names to Smokescreen. So.
Oh. Yeah. I like it. Get that done, because I want to read it. Kate, what do you have for us?
I just released Findings. Findings came out just about a month ago. It came out February 1st. So get that. And I'm working on second book. I don't have a release date in mind. I'm just kind of going with the flow. I'm trying not to deadline myself like that anymore.
I get that.
Yeah, right. Last Resort is free wherever books are sold. And I just combined Best Laid Plans, which is the second book, and the Christmas novella, Many Times, Many Ways. I just combined them into a special edition, and it has some bonus material in there. So get your freebie and see if you like them, and move on to the next. And then shameless self-promotion for India Maps. Anybody who's in the Indiana, Midwest area who wants to come meet a bunch of authors, we've got a
And when is that?
Oh, it's September the 10th.
I'm sorry, I'm writing it down because I don't want to forget.
I hear you scribbling.
Write it down. Yeah, I'm like scribbling like a crazy person. I'm like, what?
Indianapolis, Indiana Mass. Everybody come. It'll be fun.
That is so cool. And it gives me the chance to go to the art museum to play on Funky Bones again. I love Funky Bones. Okay, so I guess that's it for the night. Unless you guys have anything else that you would like to share or talk about before we go off air, I think we'll go ahead and call it quits.
I would like to say thank you, guys. Thank you for dealing with my drama earlier with my microphone and my phone call. And
thanks for dealing with ours.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for bearing with me on that one.
Yeah, thank you
for having me. This has been a lot of fun. You girls are great to talk to.
Oh, you're awesome. We had so much fun, and thank you for joining us. And I hope that later down the road we get to do this again because this has been a crazy amount of fun.
Anytime. This was awesome.
All right, well, we are done for the night, and we will see you guys next month. Bye.